welcome to season 2 of the Will Leitch Show. I am the aforementioned Will Leitch. I thank you for spending part of your day with me. We're back for season 2. There's a new set. The unicorn mug is still here. I have a fake living room. It's a new show. It's the same crap. Today's show is about the worst thing that can happen in sports. What is the worst thing in sports? Some would say it's sports media. Some would say it's performance-enhancing drugs. So that'd be what my cranky old uncles would say. Some would say it's Tom Brady. But to me, the worst thing in sports is when sports don't happen. Sports are a diversion from the horrors and panics of everyday life in 2019, and there are times I worry I would not be able to survive without them. But they can go away, and I know they can go away because I've seen it happen. It has been more than 6 years since our 4 major North American professional sports have had a work stoppage. If you don't count hockey, and honestly, who counts hockey? It has been nearly a decade. But this time is the anomaly. Labor wars in our sports happen all the time. I've seen the NBA miss so much time that all the players, they came back fat and sleepy. I've seen the NFL pretend that the drunk guy at the end of the bar could look vaguely like Joe Montana if you put pads on him, call him a replacement player, and somehow get away with it. And worst of all, I've seen baseball when I was in college, and all I wanted to do was just sit around and watch baseball all day, actually cancel the, I can't even say it. It actually hurts too much. They canceled you know what they did. The terrifying thing is that it's all going to happen again, and it's going to happen again soon. All of our leagues are in serious labor red alert territory right now. The NFL union is weaponizing the anger of the blackballing of Colin Kaepernick from the league by at least securing player unity against the increasingly cartoonishly evil owners. The NBA power structure is so out of whack that they just made a whole movie, High Flying Bird, starring today's guest, Andre Holland. Andre Holland's here, about the consequences of an NBA lockout. And Major League Baseball is so screwy right now that 2 of the best players in baseball, in the very prime of their careers, hit the market this winter, and every team in the sport yawned and picked their noses for about 5 months. Owners are making more money than ever, players are being shut out, and everyone is furious. Labor wars are coming, and it's going to be extremely ugly. And worst of all, there will be work stoppages. We're going to lose games. Now, you can take whatever side in these labor wars you want, though you should really, really, really take the player's side. But the practical effect is that you and I are going to have to get used to watching less sports than we are used to. Now, I don't know about you, but I have no idea what I'm going to do with myself. I'm going to have to talk to my family? I'm going to have to read a book? I'm going to have to, God forbid, go outside? Players, owners, okay, mostly owners, I beg of you, come to your senses and figure this out. I hope this doesn't make me sound sad, but you are literally all I have. Please, please, don't go. Today's guest, I'm very elated to have him on, is the star of Steven Soderbergh's new film on Netflix, High Flying Bird. He also starred in the incredible, wonderful Academy Award-winning movie Moonlight, as well as he had a major role in the beloved Cinemax show, The Knick. Please welcome Andre Holland. Sir, very much a pleasure.
Thank you for
By all means, thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you.
So I write about sports professionally, which is not a real job, but I will get away with it while I have the opportunity.
All right.
And I've written a lot about labor issues, kind of what's going on, and really what's kind of the central part of High Flying Bird, the idea that you play this agent named Ray, and he is basically. One of the things I kind of love about the movie is, I'm always careful of spoilers. One of the things I love about the movie is it kind of quietly becomes a Soderbergh heist film in its own sort of kind of way. Yeah. And as someone who sees kind of what's going on in the world of sports right now, and the idea, and really not just sports, but America, the idea of workers and maybe the middle to lower class kind of fighting up against maybe corporations who are in charge of them. I feel like that is something, High Flying Bird feels like a movie of that particular moment. Now, I know that you are not, in fact, a professional sports agent or an expert on contract law. Though, again, I'll ask you some questions just to make sure in case you're like Good Will Hunting and you secretly know all of that stuff. But I'm curious, do you, like, going in, kind of putting this project together, it does feel like a movie of the particular moment. Would that be a fair assessment?
Fair assessment, I'd say. When we first started talking about it, it was probably about 5 years ago, and it was around the time that the Donald Sterling tapes came out.
Yes.
And so a lot of the conversation about race and sport, was happening. And we initially, this whole High Flying Bird idea started off about baseball. We started talking about the Negro League baseball.
Because you are a baseball
huge baseball fan. Played baseball all my life through high school.
Well, we'll get into that. I want to get into that.
So it felt of that moment, and then it also feels of this moment. And I'm not sure what that says about this larger moment, but it does feel very sort of potent right now.
I mean, it's really amazing. I mean, like Harry Edwards is like a major character in the movie. Yeah. And it's, again, I've written about his work for years and years. The idea, I have to tell you, the moment of elation, I was like, wait, like that's actually Harry Edwards. Like that's actually him. They're actually bringing him out. It was like Marshall McLuhan and Annie Hall. They're like, look, I actually have Harry Edwards right here. It was really kind of amazing. And it does feel, I wrote about it for New York Magazine. I called it one of the most radical sports films I've ever seen. Like
I read your piece.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, that was me. That was me. So sorry. So I'm curious. Like it does. It's a basketball movie without a lot of basketball, but it's a heist movie with a lot of politics. Would probably be the best way to put it. Do you feel like? I feel like I don't know if a lot of basketball fans. I think if you're into the inner workings of it, they'll be really into it. But do you? This doesn't feel like you couldn't have thought this is like, oh, this is like a clear sports movie.
No, not at all. I mean, basketball is what we use as a sort of vector to discuss the larger labor issues and how they affect our society as a whole. The issues that Eric Scott and Ray Burke are dealing with in the movie, I very much deal with in Hollywood. My parents watched the movie the other night, and they said, my mom said, when I worked at the steel industry, at U.S. Steel, I felt a lot of that same sense of lack of power and lack of agency. So I think there's a lot of parallels, and that's certainly what we wanted to get into.
Yeah, and it feels like, I always think he made the movie, Steven Spielberg made the movie, The Girlfriend Experience, which I always thought was very like this, shot kind of quickly, and so therefore to capture like a specific moment, that movie's kind of about the financial crisis. And I do kind of feel like this is a little bit about this moment of not just sports, but I mean, people are saying, is it moral to be a billionaire? Yeah. And like some of these like larger questions that have not really been a part of American conversation of the past, but feel particularly urgent now.
Yeah.
Do you think that like that's something key to what you guys were trying to do?
Absolutely. Absolutely. For sure. I mean, I think even, when we look back a couple of years ago, for example, and one of the things that's come up a lot as we've been talking about the movies, people say, well, the movie's supposedly about basketball, and yet the people who the movie's about are, for the most part, these really wealthy individuals who make all this money, and should we really feel sorry for them? But we look back a couple of years ago at what happened with LeBron James when his house was, vandalized in the way that it was, right? So I think money and access doesn't inoculate people from the very real sort of dangers of racism and of that feeling of a lack of agency or a lack of power. So we wanted the movie to, yes, talk about basketball and about sport, but mostly just talk about what would it be like if people did have more agency? What, if there were fewer billionaires, and the wealth were more evenly distributed.
I'm okay with zero.
I'm fine with that too.
Except for the person that pays for the show. You are great. Whoever you are. But and it's funny, I think that you see this even with, you mentioned LeBron James. Yeah. He is someone who more and more has not only kind of like fought for player autonomy and kind of player agency, but has become more and more political. This is no longer the age. The Michael Jordan Republicans buy shoes too thing is not actually a real quote. He never actually said that, but it sounds like something Michael Jordan would say. He wanted to kind of be all things for all people. LeBron James, I think, particularly in the NBA, I think you see this more and more players being like, you know what, we are speaking out about this. Yeah. The idea that LeBron James could call the president of the United States you bum on Twitter. And not only does it make LeBron James more popular, Trump didn't actually fight back. He actually didn't even, the one guy he didn't go back at. For me, do you think that people that love the NBA or just see a powerful black man speaking up like that, do you think that is that what the movie's about too? Is the idea people kind of coming together and fighting against really something that's we've kind of realized in the last couple of years was maybe more a part of the American character than we necessarily wanted to admit.
Yeah, I think it is, very much so. And I think, as we talk about Colin Kaepernick and all, the issues that these guys in the NFL are facing as they try and speak out more and more, that was very much in our minds as we were creating the story.
Yeah, and you saw at the Super Bowl too.
Yeah.
They clearly ran out of halftime acts that would do the show.
Yeah.
Would be a fair assessment. But I think that's good. I think that speaks to, I think what's exciting about the movie is there is a sense of, it doesn't feel like the good guys are gonna lose.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of times you fight the good fight, and you just
can't quite get there.
You can't quite get there.
Yeah,
but you know what? Future generations will get there. We're gonna do what we can. And one of the things that's really exciting for me about the movie is that it feels like maybe the good guys are gonna win.
Yeah. I think so, and that's what we wanted it to feel like.
Yeah.
Like you said in the beginning, it's a heist movie.
Yeah.
At the end, Danny Ocean always sort of shows up and is like, we feel happy that he's all right. I think that's very much what we wanted it to feel like. And also one of the things Steven talked a lot about is that, he likes projects that feel like they're sort of 11 seconds into the future, right? These like big futuristic ideas, but things that are just around the corner. And I think this idea is very much, rooted in that place.
Okay, so well, thank you for making it. I very much enjoyed the movie. I have a million questions for you about Moonlight, but you're putting this now. But just so you know, Moonlight was awesome.
Oh, thank you. I'm happy to talk about that.
Absolutely murders me. So we have a section called frivolous questions of dubious import. Okay,
Ooh,
these are for you. These are written specifically for you. These were not like picked from like an LSAT. Like these are actual questions. So the good news is that for you. The bad news is they're not multiple choice.
Oh boy, frivolous questions
of dubious import, which is to say they're stupid and don't matter. Okay. Number one, first question. Soderbergh, of course, kind of famously shot this movie all on an iPhone.
Yes.
Now, was there at any point in the process where you thought, is he really making this movie, or is he just like playing a game on his phone right now?
At the very beginning, when he first mentioned to me that he wanted to do it on an iPhone, there was a part of me that thought, wait a minute, really?
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to do that?
And had you seen it? Because Unsane probably had not come out yet.
It hadn't come out.
So you hadn't seen that it could work.
I didn't know. I wasn't sure.
Right.
But very early on, after the first day, he said, come, look at this. And he showed me the images, and I thought, oh, yeah, we're in good shape.
Because this is a project that you've been talking about doing for a while. Yeah. But he films it, and then of course, under his whatever fake name he happened to be using. Sorry, no, these are real people. Whatever fake name he was using as the editor and as the cinematographer and so on. But is he because he's doing an iPhone, is he just sending you his dailies, or is he putting them in Dropbox, or what's he doing?
Nah, I mean, I don't think many people got to see the dailies, but he did let me see some things. But it was mostly we come in for work after having shot a day's worth of work, and he said, hey, you want to see some of what we did yesterday? And he showed me on the phone. And
so how long did he actually, after filming was done, how long until? So I remember I remember him tweeting a couple of times, yeah, I'm editing this sports movie right now on my phone, but don't worry, I'm doing other stuff. How long was the process?
Get this. So we shot the movie in 13 days, the whole thing. On our last day of shooting, we shot in Philadelphia. We took the train down, shot half a day in Philly. We're headed back from Philly to New York. I fell asleep on the train. Somebody came and tapped me on the shoulder, woke me up, and they said, hey, Steven wants to see you. So I walk up to his seat, and I was like, what's up? And he says, you want to see the movie? I'm done. And sure enough, he pulled it up on his computer, and he had edited the whole thing.
That's just showing off.
I know.
That's just showing off. I think he's making a movie right now, and it's just about done. I have no doubt. Okay, so I don't know if you had sports agents are kind of a thing in movies. There've been a lot of different characters. You, I think, are one of the more. You and Jerry Maguire, I think, are the nice, the more positive ones from different angles. Did you meet any while working this? Have you met any? Are they nice people, or are they sleazy Wall Street?
It's funny you say that, man. I did get to meet a couple of them, and I was surprised that they were all the ones I met. Anyway, were lovely, lovely people, really kind and really generous. And one way I think they're different from agents in Hollywood is that these guys are, as you probably know, plugged into these young athletes' lives from a very, very young age and very close to their families. And the ones I met really genuinely cared. And so that's something I wanted to lend to my character, is that he's a guy who's really genuinely interested.
I think they were just putting on a nice face.
You think so?
Yeah,
all right, maybe.
That's not true. Okay, so I find this kind of amazing that you worked on this project for so long, and he edited it before the other train had it ready. And somehow, ridiculously, it came out the same weekend as another movie about a sports agent.
Yeah, I heard of him.
That has Carl Anthony Towns.
Oh, I didn't know
Carl Anthony Towns is actually in both movies. I don't know if he has a very he's just I'm going to make you a star. Look how good I am. I'm putting you in 2 movies about sports agents that come out in the same weekend. But you have not seen.
I've not seen that one. No, I haven't.
Well, he is, first off, Carl Anthony Towns is perfectly fine in both movies.
Great.
No offense to what men want, but yours is better.
Oh,
but regardless. So you talked about this earlier. You had went to Soderbergh to work on a movie about the Negro Leagues. Is that still a project that I think I read that it was like too expensive and probably too much to do early on. But is it still something you'd like to do at some point?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm still working on it quietly. And there's some other people who've reached out to me recently.
Okay.
Just
because hearing about it.
Hearing about it, I think, and so they have some interesting ideas, which I think together with some of my ideas might actually happen.
Okay. I will not ask you any more about it because whenever I'm in the middle of working on something, the last thing I want to do is talk about it.
Talk about it.
So I'll let you.
I'll come back and see you once it's done.
Okay, fair enough. Please do. And so you're a baseball person.
Yeah.
Who's your team?
I grew up loving the Orioles, but I'm more of a player person. Like I played shortstop growing up and middle infield, so Cal Ripken was my guy.
Of course.
I love watching him play. And I would say that I, by default, sort of fell in love with the Orioles.
Okay.
But I don't really have a team right now. I'm from Alabama, so we don't have any professional.
There's no reason to be an Orioles fan right now. Like,
is that right?
At all.
It's bad.
They're very bad.
All right.
So I want to actually talk to you about Alabama because you, of course, your hometown is also, from what I understand, the hometown of Bo Jackson.
That's
is that an accurate statement?
He grew up down the street.
Now, so he did grow up down. He literally grew up down the street.
Yeah, very.
He's a little older.
Yeah.
But you must have like heard the legend of him. Like,
oh, of course.
So,
yeah. He's like a family friend too, so he would like come. So
that's why I'm asking.
Yeah,
he would actually come by. Like once he was Bo in the Nike's ads, at that point he would come by.
It was actually before that. This is when like Bo was like
at Auburn,
high school star.
Okay.
And when he was at Auburn, he was very close with like some of my other family members. They who were like older than me. Obviously, they were contemporaries. And so he'd come by on his motorcycle and hang out. And my mom, he would like ride my mom on his motorcycle around the neighborhood. And even now, we get together at least once every year because he does this amazing charity bike ride in April called Bo Bikes Bama. And so I go down and ride with him and Brett Favre and a bunch of other of his
he had a brief
friends.
moment as an actor too, didn't he? I think
Bo did?
Yeah, he was in like a John Grisham movie. He was like
Is that right?
I think he was like a bailiff in like a John Grisham movie.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna have to log that.
I think he was just being like, listen, I've clearly proven I can do whatever in the world that I want. But I can't imagine what it was like when he, like, particularly at the height. I think that people that are young now don't necessarily remember what it was like. Bo Jackson was.
He was the man.
He was everything.
That was it.
And listen, I know Michael Jordan is the biggest icon of all, but like during a stretch, like Bo Jackson, during that stretch of the Nike ads and the Bonos, like there was no bigger star on the planet.
Yeah.
And he was a family friend at like, what was it like to see the guy that rode your mom around the motorcycle literally everywhere in the world?
It was amazing. It was amazing. I mean, he's like superhuman. I mean, the dude is so. Even now, when you meet him, shake his hand is like, could break every bone in my hand. But he's an amazing dude, and such a generous guy, and loves the community, loves his people, and is always trying to give back. So it's a pleasure.
Do you get back? Do you get back to? How often do you get a chance?
Yeah, I go there all the time. I was there.
Is your family still there?
All my family's there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so I was there just yesterday. We're actually, my parents and I are renovating an old movie theater.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome. No, so it was there when you were a kid and just like when did disrepair or did it?
Yeah, it was actually so during segregation it was the movie theater that my parents grew up going to. It was the only one that they could go to. It was closed by the time I came along, but I always looked at the building and thought, what is that? Cool place. Yeah, and so we got it and we're putting it back together.
Oh, that makes me extremely happy.
Yeah, you have to come see a movie with us.
I would love it. Okay, so I asked one last question of everyone, and this is probably a more personal for me question, so forgive me. But I look around the world sometimes and it seems scary. Probably a fair assessment I pick up my phone device and it's just one fresh hell horror after another every time I refresh my feed. And I'm just asking you, as someone whose work I respect and someone who is obviously an intelligent person, are we going to be okay? Do you think we're going to be all right? And you can be honest.
Well,
this is the first show of the year, so you're setting the tone
is that right?
for the rest of our shows.
In that case,
no. Be honest. Be honest. I need to be honest.
The truth is, I think we're going to be okay.
You think so? Okay.
I think we're going to be okay. I think we don't have a choice but to be okay.
Oh, see, that's different.
Yeah. Well, is it? I mean,
Okay. So like the best you can do is have a good attitude and make it through, and even if things are
do the work that needs to be done in order to make things better. But I think there are a lot of people out there who are activated and doing work to change this narrative. And I count myself among them, and I'm hopeful that things will improve.
Okay, I'll take it. I will absolutely take it. Thank you very much. Andre Holland, this is an absolute honor by all means.
Thank you.
Watch the movie. The movie is High Flying Bird. You can find it on Netflix as well. And of course, go see, if you haven't seen Moonlight, I don't even know why you're even watching the show, why you even started watching the show. Go see Moonlight, see High Flying Bird. Andre Holland, thank you very much again, very much. This is our first episode of the Will Leitch Show is now in the books. I can't believe I got Andre Holland as my first guest. To come back next week for another show. And please come back for find wherever your Will Leitch devices and tchotchkes are sold.